Anyway, I know a lot of you guys are because of all the shootings. I hear friends every day talking about I'm going to get my permit. I'm going to get another gun. Or I'm going to go get a carry gun, learn how to carry a gun, learn how to shoot. And so I don't call myself an expert, but I've been fortunate. As if you know me, I've went through a huge collection of firearms. I've over the years, and it's to the point where nowadays I can't even. I don't have. I have to store everything elsewhere, and just keep a few things around me because that I've had such a huge collection over the years. And went through so many different types of firearms. I actually experienced a lot of different guns, and could tell you, just from what I've had, what I know about firing these guns, what I know about how they're going to operate, how they're going to feel. So a lot of times when I take people to the range, and I've over the years I've taken a lot of different, younger people, women, my kids, boys, males and females, the girls. I've taken a lot of people to the range, and I've laid out just a whole variety. And that's the good thing is you can lay out a variety of guns when you have a collection. I've narrowed my collection down over the years to where it's the basics. So are the basic classic firearms, pretty much what the classic military firearms. I have a few older firearms, and I have carry guns. I have revolvers, automatics. I have a pretty much across the board collection, and I like to keep that collection because I'm a shooter, and I don't mind sharing the shooting experience with people who are new to it. And if you ever get a chance, if you're going to buy a gun, if you never owned a gun, or if you want to buy a type, you maybe own one gun and you want something different than what you have, or you want something lighter or heavier or something for the house, you need to try things out because guns are a lot different the way they handle, the way they fire. So my experience when I take people to the range for the first time, or they haven't shot that often, maybe they shot once or twice, or they shot a shotgun, or they shot somebody a handgun, grandpa's 410 shotgun, and they want to try out handguns. I say, okay, let me get a variety of things. Trying to find out what they're looking for. It's usually when someone shoots the first time, I've seen a pattern with people, whether it's men, women, younger. Let's talk about people like first time shooters, teenagers, people who aren't maybe as muscular, like not military built people, not people built like police officers, not people who are got workout. We're talking average person who needs a gun for self protection, or a younger kid. I'm not saying a weak person, but you know what I'm saying. I'm saying like a younger kid that doesn't have the muscle memory and all the things. It hasn't fired a thin guy, like my sons. My sons are big guys and they're all getting taller than me, but they're still under 200 pounds. I think one of my sons is over, but skinny guys. They're athletic, but they're skinny, so they have pretty much the same response to a firearm. Being a young guy, 175 pound, 18-year-old, around 16 to 18 to 20-year-old guys. They're average build. They even have things that are going to bother them the same way it will bother like a woman, or as far as hand pain, or as far as something that's going to have too much recoil to control the gun well. It's pretty much universal. Unless you get to the point where you're built enough to where you can handle it, you get the wrist strength, or you're working on that, or you do construction, or you train yourself. At that point, I think your hand strength, your wrist strength, and your physical strength does have a little bit of effect on the recoil. My hand hurts just as bad with some guns as other people. I'm just used to it. But recoil's recoil. And that's a big thing when you're buying a carry gun. The problem is there's a point of weight with a firearm that I've found over the years that's that spot that anybody can pick that gun up and usually shoot well. And it goes in ounces. You can look up specs on guns, you can see how many ounces the guns are, and that's a good thing. If you shoot some guns, you think about the weight, you find out the weight. And to make it make sense, a lot of times I start people with larger handguns. For example, now this is a Charter Arms. This is my first gun. This is what would be like a K-frame Smith and Wesson, but it's a Charter. It's a little, probably a little over 20 ounces. Now this is, I think, let me see, I got the specs. I think yeah, it's about a 20-ounce gun, which is actually pretty light. It's a 357 Magnum, but you can shoot 38s out of 357 Magnum. When you shoot a 357 out of this does hurt your hand. It's snappy, what I call snappy. It's got a snap to it. Most Charter Arms handguns, whether it's the 44 or the 3, any of the, if you shoot 357s out of any of them, because they tend to be lighter and built lighter like this, they're a little thinner frame and a lighter frame, and they're like the old police guns. They tend to be what you call snappy. You can put a 38 special in there, and it shoots pretty damn good. It's not a lot of snap to it because the 38, of course, is a lighter load. The 357 is longer, has a little more powder in it. And when you do 38s or 9 millimeters, they have a thing. It's like a pressure rating, and it will say, we have standard pressure, and then you have something that'll be plus P or plus P plus. A lot of people tend in 38s to get a plus P round because it's a little stronger 38. It'll be there's not now they're not a plus P in 357. There's a plus P in 38. There's a plus P in 9 millimeter. They'll get called a plus P. Now some guns are not plus P rated that are just 38. All of your 357s, because they can handle that extra pressure, can handle a 38 plus P because it's way less pressure than the 357 Magnum. In other words, if you've got this 357 Magnum here, and you want to shoot 38s to get the recoil down, you can shoot the 38 plus Ps to get a little more powerful round. Not going to be as much recoil as the 357. Now, the thing is, a lot of people do that in smaller 38s, the 38 handguns that are just 38s. And the thing is, when you have a smaller barrel, the powder does not have time to burn in that particular weapon. And the powder cannot burn properly with a plus P, and there's a lot of research on that. It's just not, the barrel's too short, not really getting that performance. It's actually kind of wasted money if you look at all the ballistic studies. Plus P's better than a 4-inch barrel, which is what that was, or a longer barrel. You can use old-fashioned rounds like wad cutters. We'll get into that later because it's more about guns. But there's ammo. You want to know anything about ammo, ask me. Ammunition can make a difference too. But not to get off subject here. This being a 20-ounce handgun, that's about the weight. When you get in the 20-ounce range, that's the weight where you can shoot a mild round comfortably and not have hand pain, not have recoil. You can aim and shoot very accurately. When you get into, let's say, another type of weapon, you hear, like I have a heavier, this is called an N frame. This is based on a 44 frame, but this is a 357 Magnum. This is an old highway patrolman. This is an old police gun. If you look at the size difference, these were both used in law enforcement years ago. But then you look at this, and you look at that. That's like Big Brother. That's a big size difference in the guns. That's a large difference in the frame. This frame is the same frame as you ever seen those old Dirty Harry movies. This being the same frame that the 44 Magnum had, was basically the Model 29 that used the Dirty Harry guns, which is 44. It's like a 44 Magnum that has a 357 cylinder, basically. That's kind of in the reverse the way it was made, but just layman's terms, let's just say that to make it make sense. I think the 357 came first. But they beefed that frame up, and it's a very heavy gun. The thing about that is you can shoot anything through that, and it's very accurate because there's no recoil. You have no kick, nothing. You can shoot a full-powered 357 Magnum through that thing, and it's like shooting a BB gun to me. Because somebody who's a new shooter, even a new shooter, can shoot that and they don't feel it because it's way heavier. I think that's probably about 40-something ounce gun right there. I don't know the specs exactly on this. I have this Taurus here. This is a tracker. This is a lightweight alloy 44 Magnum, but I shoot the same thing. You can shoot 44 specials out of this. The Magnum rounds are pretty rough on this. Getting to my other point, I'm going to show you this, and it'll make sense. This is a Glock 4. It's a 40 caliber, but I put 9 millimeter barrels with 357 SIG barrels in it. But my son shot this very well. This is not the smallest frame anymore. It used to be, but this is there's a mid-size, there's this, and then there's a smaller frame, the Glock 43 frame, which is a 9 millimeter. The Glock 42 is a 380. This is the second size up. This is a double stack. So it has a double stack magazine. So it's not flat, it's a little larger. It's about 20 ounces. This doesn't really tend to hurt your hand. And it doesn't matter. I see people shooting 40s, 9 millimeters, and even 357 SIGs out of that, and it doesn't bother anybody. If you go over that 20 ounce mark, it doesn't bother your hands. Now, can you carry that? You can carry a 20 ounce handgun. You know, the Glock 19 is 29 loaded, which is the size up from that. It's 29 ounces loaded. And people carry Glock 19s all the time. Cops carry, you know, detectives carry that size. They carry they usually they'll carry a size up from that, the frame size wise, in the 40. A lot of times around here, around Metro, they're still using the 22s, which are size up. But it's comfortable to carry if you have a good carry system, carry rig. The thing is, people tend to carry smaller handguns. So you start getting into the snubs revolvers, which, let me give you an example. I've got several different, a lot of snubs. You have to really practice with these. These are little 38 snubs. This is a Taurus. This is a polymer, which is the same thing Glocks are made of. And this is a little heavier than some of the lightweight guns. But here's it. I think that is what is that? Looking here. That is somewhere around, it's around, I think, 18, 14. Nah, it's a little heavier. The Glock 43, the smaller Glock, is 17 ounces. Okay. But the other ones are like 13, 14 ounces, way under on weight. You get an air weight, for example. Smith & Wesson air weight. Those are pretty lightweight. But they are painful to shoot. When you start getting under 18 ounces under, the thing is, they always want to sell these to women, these kind, and you can get a nice handgun this size, but if you buy, let's say, a Taurus Model 85, or if you want to spend more money, the Ruger SP101, those guns are the same exact frame size, but they're steel, and they come in at over 20, about 20 ounces, or around 20, and they're heavier, and it might be a little heavier to carry, but when you shoot them, you're going to notice the difference, because when you get over that weight, that is what I'm telling you, that 19, 20, right around that range ounces is about the minimum ounces you can fire and not feel too much recoil or hand pain, if it's a new shooter, or a senior citizen shooting. The thing is, if you do get the smaller guns, which they market like these, like this is a LCR 380, SCR 2, this is a 380, and it's very lightweight. When I watch people in the range, the guns they have the problems with, they start getting to this size, that's when they have problems shooting it. The thing is, this is what people market for concealed carry. They have problems with this, and they'll shoot like 20, 30 guns, and they'll have problems with this. When they're shooting, which I don't have, I have, like I said, a lot of my guns are in storage, so look up, if you don't know what it is, a 1911 45, which is your common 45 gun, handgun, the first automatic handgun, made. And the Berettas, you see Berettas in movies. It's the barrels, get the cutaway barrels, get the barrel coming out the end. Berettas are very popular. In the 80s, 90s, the military's used both the 1911 and the Beretta for years. The 1911 being the first, gun they used for a long time. The Beretta's been around a long time. I think they're moving to the SIG 320 now. But those two guns, anybody, and a Browning high power also, all those guns are steel. They're based on their metal handguns. Nobody has a problem firing. You're talking about a 45, and I had a 45, a 40 Browning high power, which is, and you can look these up. I wish I had them for demo purposes, but they're out of town right now. And that and the Beretta 9.2, look up any of those three guns. Those are three classic designs. The Browning, the Colt 1911 or the 1911 style guns, and so look any of those up. I have never seen anybody that had a problem shooting those guns. And you're talking three different calibers, 40, 45, 9mm. All three calibers shoot about the same if the gun is a certain weight. That's why if you want, if you say, if you're only going to own one gun and you want something for home protection, but you want something you could carry if you had to, you could put somewhere, then you probably want to get in some in that 20 ounce range. It's smaller, 19, 20 ounces. And maybe let's say I want something to carry or put in a car, or put in a purse or carry. Then I want to go, but that's the only gun I'm going to own, and I want to shoot it and practice with it. Because I'm going to tell you, with a snub, practice is very important. Snub noses, they're fun to shoot. The reason I like shooting a lot of those little guns nowadays is because I've mastered everything else, and these are the hardest guns to master when you start shooting these 2-inch, barrel guns. If you want something that you can practice a lot with, you're going to want to go heavier than a lightweight snub. If you get a 20-something ounce snub, like for example, like I said, the Beretta 85 or the SP 101, you get either one of those. The weight right there is where you can shoot 38s all day and get practice, and it's not going to bother you. Okay, so that said, let's say once you master the heavier guns, or you could get, let's say if you want something for home protection, you're not going to carry it much, you can get something that's like in this weight range or a little heavier that's got a full size barrel, okay? And that's great for home protection because that 4-inch barrel, the best shooting guns in revolvers are going to be a 4-inch. Or you can get a Glock 19, or you can get a Walther PPQ, which is awesome. The trigger's awesome on that gun. It's an awesome shooting gun. You can get a Walther. Anything like that, when you're talking automatics, look around, look at the weight, go on the specs, every gun's got specs, and look at the weight, the loaded weight, the unloaded weight. Caliber is not as big a deal. Rent some guns at your local gun store. Either way, if you want to get a lighter gun, first learn how to shoot the heavier guns. If you're just going to have one gun in the house, get the heavy gun. And learn how to shoot very well with that before you get the lighter gun. Then you can get something lighter once you know how to shoot. That's just my advice. If, like I said, unless you're just going to go buy everything, you just plan on getting a whole lot of guns, stick with that formula, and you'll pretty much be a good shooter. Get a gun that's heavy enough to shoot well, heavy enough to practice with, heavy enough to learn on, and then when you're mastering it, get yourself something a little smaller. So you guys, thank you. Have a great day.